All right, media, we'll get started with pregame media availability with head coach Derek Fisher. Again, click chat, raise hand function, and that will let me know to call on you. We'll start with Adam Grossbart, LA Daily News.
Derek, we saw Raquana is listed as out with a left knee strain today. Is that the extent of the injury? Are you still waiting on any more tests? And if so, like, how long is she going to be out?
Yeah, I mean, I guess medically, I don't know necessarily the full extent in medical terms, but, you know, I don't know if we know for sure how long she'll be out, but we'll reevaluate it like after tonight. And, we don't play again until Wednesday. I would say, it's better than, at least like how it looked and her not being able to finish the game, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves. We could put something together, I guess that's more official and have Courtney speak to it from a medical sense. But I think overall Raquana's definitely going to be fine. There isn't any major damage that was done. So she feels pretty good actually, and again, we'll kind of reevaluate the situation after the next game and try to kind of look ahead to how we want to plan for her return.
Tukni New in LA Times.
Coach Fisher, with today being Kobe's birthday, or would have been Kobe's birthday, how are you remembering your old friend, and not only today on his birthday, but just in general as you coach in the Wubble?
It's kind of more of an everyday thing. I kind of find I feel like the birthday kind of craze came out of nowhere. So I'm just kind of, I think managing, how I personally feel and my emotions today the best I can. But, I think our players and, everyone involved with the organization, like we're, trying to do, what small part we can just as a gesture and a token of our appreciation for what he meant and what he still means. And even though he's not physically here, I think today is still a celebration of his life and his legacy. It's okay for us to laugh, to cry, whatever the feelings are that we each have. The only thing I know for sure, I think at the moment to answer your question is, I think regardless of, like things that happen in life, like Kobe for sure was the example of a person that whenever it was time to compete and go out and have a chance to win, he was able to table whatever pain or discomfort physically, mentally, emotionally that he may have been experiencing to go out and try and help his team win. And I would say that kind of sums up, how I feel about today. Regardless of how I personally feel, I just want to try and do everything in my power to help our players have a chance to win tonight's game.
Chris Camello.
Coach, just kind of piggybacking on that, Kobe had, I think what made him special, obviously aside from the fact of being a basketball player, was all of the stuff that he did off of the court. And, you talk about what the WNBA and the NBA have done about, social injustices and trying to bring awareness. Talk about where he, in your opinion, and what you had talked to him about where he stood on those types of issues.
Yeah, that's a difficult question to answer. I think that what makes, this current movement in terms of social injustices and inequalities and the things that everybody's fighting for and speaking out on is the fact that each person is speaking authentically from their perspective and their experience on how important this is to them personally, to their family. Kobe can only speak to that in terms of what these things mean or would mean to him. I think the one thing we can for sure speak to that he was actively living out, before he left us was, the fight for women's, rights and equality in business and sports. Just living every day to try and create a better world for his daughter and all of his girls, so that as they matured in life, the opportunities that women have been blocked out of, left out of, not invested in, um, halfway committed to, etc., that those things could possibly be better by the time Gianna and his other girls, and Talia and Bianca and Capri, like by the time they came of age, they could benefit from the things that he was investing in on behalf of women. So that's the one area I feel like, he clearly left a trail for us to pick up and follow. Uh, the other things that our country is talking about right now, he never really openly address those things, to my knowledge, in a full way that we could try and go back and say this is what he meant or how he felt. So I would never. He's smarter than me, so I would never try and speak to something that would be so personal to him.
Last question for pregame, John W. Davis.
Good afternoon, Coach Fisher. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, John. I'm doing all right, man. How you doing?
All right. I'm okay. I'm okay today. I finally just get to say good afternoon, and we're in the same day part for once, even though we're 3 hours apart. But if I could ask you about Raquana Williams, obviously she's not playing today. She's been coming off the bench for you now. You've been depending on her as an anchor when she's on the floor for offense, when she's been successful. How does the rest of the bench, and, I think I've identified the people who can step up in her place, but how does the rest of the bench and even some of the starters like Sydney Weiss and Brittany Sykes make up for what you missed from Raquana?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I think the obvious thing for all of us to do is look at her point production and, try and find ways to fill that gap that Raquana provides us night in and night out. And, I think with our team, that'll happen by committee. As long as we're moving the basketball, we're playing the game the right way, I think we'll find a way to score the points that we need in order to win. I think the thing that Raquana brings that is more understood in our locker room, and maybe our opponents get it or whatever, is like there's a brand of toughness that Raquana plays the game with, and in particular when she's bringing it on the defensive end, that her teammates really, really respond to at a high level. And so I think that side of the floor, you see Raquana getting into people defensively, creating steals. There are times where the person she's guarding gets a half a step on her. They try to go to the hole, and she'll just rip the ball from them when they try to go up in a real aggressive, determined way of like, no, you're not going to score on me, even though you got around me half a step. Those are the things we got to find a way to replace. And so to me, that's where Taya Cooper and Brittany Sykes and Sydney and Chelsea and all of our perimeter players, I think, have to step up in that regard. And then, for TRP as a defender and a player that brings a brand of physical toughness for us on that end, like if we can get those things that Raquana brings, that gets us out in transition more, that gets us the ball back more. And then if we're sharing it, we'll find a way to replace the 13 points across the board. But that toughness, though, that you can't teach that. And we got to find a way to replicate that as much as we can.
Thank you.
Thanks.